Hello fellow Ho'oponoponoers, it's Stephen here, author of Ho'oponopono. What is it, can it help, and what are its limitations? Today I want to make a slight deviation from the usual Ho'oponopono message, which is to focus upon the relationship between your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, your superconscious mind, and divinity, which suggests that by making a petition to your subconscious mind, it goes up through your superconscious into divinity, and divinity sends down a bolt of white light, which will not only delete the data held by your subconscious mind, but will also replace it with the white light of divinity. That's not what I want to talk about today. What I'm going to talk about instead is just the bottom part of this model, the relationship between your conscious mind and your subconscious. This relationship is a system, and in traditional science, it's probably the only system that there is. It's the only thing that seems to function. Traditional science doesn't acknowledge the superconscious really in any great detail, and it also doesn't recognize divinity as being the plane of consciousness, the plane of awareness upon which all your experiences. The subconscious and your conscious mind together form what is known as the soul in traditional medieval literature. It's the part of you which can jump from one lifetime into another. The soul is very, very important. Your conscious mind probably won't remember that much about what's happened in this lifetime, but it will be very much aware and still able to negate various different images or actions that your subconscious wants to take. Your subconscious, however, will remember everything that's occurred in this life and in previous lives as well, and these will influence what actually manifests before you. That's all pure Ho'oponopono theory. What you may not know is within the field of psychology, which is the standard way of looking at things, the subconscious mind actually is a quite fascinating component to who you are. And I want to give you some examples of this. One of the things that's been studied for many, many years in psychology is something called the placebo effect. And the placebo effect is when some kind of medicine or suggestion has helped you in the face of overwhelming evidence that it should not. Psychologists and indeed other researchers into medical matters know that this is the case. It's true that today many of the drugs that are authorized by the Food and Drug Administration of the USA and were subjected to blind trials many, many decades ago, actually are subject to the placebo effect, and they work largely because of suggestion. People say that they work, and so therefore they work. And behavioral psychologists are very, very aware of this fact, and they use it all the time in the work that they do with you. So, for example, Rory Sutherland, who's the vice chairman of Ogilvy UK and also heads up their behavioral science unit, will tell you quite candidly that if you take a red pill, it's going to be more effective than a blue pill or a white pill. And if you've got a headache, therefore, and you take the red pill, the headache's more likely to go away than if you take the blue pill or the white pill. And not only that, if you pay more for the red pill than the blue pill or the white pill, the headache's going to go away even faster. And so this is all to do with suggestion, isn't it? But what you may not know is there's also been some tests done on yogurt. So a group of people were given some yogurt, and the yogurt was absolutely identical. However, one group's yogurt was labelled as being gluten-free, wholesome, healthy, fat-free, and it would make you feel wonderful. And another group's yogurt was labelled as being enriched with all sorts of things that you shouldn't be having, and indeed, was high cholesterol and would give you all sorts of problems if you ate too much of it. And what's more, you'd have the problems quite quickly. So these two groups were given the yogurt, exactly the same yogurt, different labels. And then after about half an hour or so, their blood was tested. And sure enough, the group in Group A that had the low-fat label, their blood was really doing really very well. And all the indicators were that they were going to become really healthy people. And when they tested Group B, who had consumed exactly the same yogurt, but when their blood was tested, it was discovered that they had all kinds of problems beginning to develop. So this has got nothing whatsoever to do with the yogurt and everything to do with the labelling. I used to think years and years ago when I travelled on the London Underground, there used to be these little notices, and little notices have lots of writing because when you're on the London Underground, there's very little you can do other than read the stuff that's in the carriage. So it's a very good place to put detailed information. And, one of the things that they used to say about every September is prepare for this season's colds and flu. And, you can take these different anti-flu medications when you start suffering from flu in the winter. And the result of which, I think, led to many more people getting colds and flu than probably even bought the medication to cure it. Because the suggestion was that because it was winter, you're going to get more colds and flu. I think this is very, very significant information for those of us that practice Ho'oponopono, because it just shows how powerful your subconscious is. You can prime your subconscious to do various different things and you don't even know that you're priming it. So if you have an ungrateful disposition, then you'll trigger all your ungrateful experiences. If you have a healthy disposition, you're likely to trigger healthy responses from your subconscious. And if you treat your subconscious really well, like the inner toddler it really is, then you're going to have a good, fulfilling relationship with it. You're going to be able to delete harmful data from it, and you're going to be far, far less suggestible. Anyway, this is my little Ho'oponopono tidbit for today. Part Ho'oponopono, it's part behavioural science. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you very much for watching.